Welcome to the Temple of Flame. And today, Faith Black Lights, we take a look at this. And what this is from Smokin, it is the chocolate strawberry hot sauce. This is the hot version of this, which means it is made with the Mighty Mighty Reapers. There is a mild version of this as well. One of the interesting things about these Smokin labels I've noticed is that all of them that I've had so far have the actual ink that's on top of the surface has cracked. It's kind of wild. I don't know. You can see it's there too. I don't know why that is. This is verbiage about Smokin Ed. The Smokin Eds all have this passage about Ed. And that's fine. That's cool. You can talk about whatever you want in those side panels. It's all good. I would prefer that we, much as I admire Smokin Ed, I kind of wish we had the pairings that the sauces were meant to go with, if I had my druthers. But either which way. So we got strawberries, vinegar, chili peppers, which are the Mighty Mighty Reapers, the cocoa powder, spices, vanilla extract, lemon peel, orange peel. So that is from Pucker Butt, by the way. So the milds are all red jalapenos. The hot versions are all the Mighty Mighty Reaper. And this does have a sort of chocolatey look to it. I played around with this a little bit trying to figure out what to do with it. And I gotta say, I have honestly struggled. Now you can see it's kind of like a really dark chocolate milk almost. There's little particulates which you can't see because the cocoa is obscuring everything. Yeah, I mean it kind of just looks like almost like a melted shake. Maybe a melted chocolate shake as far as that goes. Kind of see a little bit in the bottle there. But let's get on into this then. So I don't know, a bit punchy, very, very pungent. I don't know if these bits in here are, it's actually a touch sour by the way I just had it there. But vinegar and then the citrus, I don't quite understand what he was going for here, but these bits could be probably strawberries. They could be Reaper as well. This, I think, will, like most everything in the hot version of the Smokin Ed stuff that I've had so far, the hots will definitely push non-chili heads. But I think, I wouldn't say they're chili head only. I wouldn't go that far. Very curious concoction here, and I didn't know what to make of it. I couldn't figure out what to do with this. And then it finally hit me. I thought, hey, I'll bake something. And we're going to roll footage on that right now. Okay, we're going to be doing something a little different for this video. We're actually going to be making something completely from scratch. And you'll see what it is. So here is everything you need to make this, except for the star of the video, which we'll add a little bit down the line. But first, let's take a look at our non-food elements. And so I will put a link to the recipe that I borrowed from for this down below. But here's the things you're going to need as far as tools. A whisk, measuring spoons, 2 measuring cups. I'm using a 1/3 cup and a 1/2 cup. If you have all of them, that's probably better, but I'm too lazy to buy more, so I just make it work. A sifter, 1 large glass bowl, 1 small or medium-sized glass bowl. We have here 1 kitchen tablespoon, 1 eating teaspoon, if you will, 2 spatulas or scrapers. Both of these are fairly stiff. The red one is silicone. I don't recall what the other one is. I think it's just rubber. And a small saucepan. And maybe I'll put you know what? You can just watch that part of the video again if you don't remember everything. Okay, and plus you can just look at the recipe. Most of it's going to be the same. So, for food things, we need 2 eggs plus 1 yolk. I will show you how to separate a yolk. We have vanilla. I'm using this high quality, what is this? Nielsen Massey vanilla, canola oil, flour. This particular one is King Arthur. It is naturally bleached, I guess. They had this really cool section on their website, which is why I decided to buy that, because I learned a lot about flour from their website. I appreciate that. We have here Hershey's Cocoa. This is the special dark. We have here a 1.5 sticks of butter. We have baking powder, kosher salt, and if you're going to make them my way, you can't use the regular granulated salt, okay? This can't be skipped if you want to make it my way. And granulated sugar, just whatever, it doesn't matter for that. So, one thing I will say is that the recipe also includes chocolate chips, but I don't like those in my brownies, so I just deleted it. You can add them if you want, I guess. All right, so the first thing is we need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, the dry goes in this medium bowl here, okay? Keep this in mind. You only want to add the dry to the wet. You do not, don't ask me how I know this, but you do not want to add the wet to the dry. And I will get into that a little bit later. So first thing we're going to do is 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Pour that right in there. That is not going to go in the sifter. Okay? Let's put the salt away. Into the sifter. Now I have this one that has this neat little thing here. If you don't have that, just kind of try to hold it over the bowl, I guess. So now we're going to be adding, again with a 1/2 teaspoon, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I am going to do my best not to make a mess while doing this. And of course, if you've ever baked anything, you are aware that that can sometimes be a challenge. Okay, baking powder out of here. Okay, so next we have a 1/2 cup of cocoa. So here's our 1/2 cup. Now, I'm not using the 1/2 cup because it does not fit in here particularly well. So instead, I'm going to use this 1/4 cup, which fits a lot better. And we're going to try to really delicately, really delicately get some of that in there. This one, because I'm adding a chocolate sort of cocoa hot sauce into the mix, I'm not as worried about how much of this I get in there. So I'll be a little imprecise. Okay? Cocoa is done. Don't dispose of this measuring thing just yet, though. Okay? We are done with the cocoa, though. Let's get that out of here. Now, what I like to do is get everything out of my way as soon as I'm done using it. That's one of the ways you keep it clean. This I keep in a Ziploc, and I keep it vertical like this, so I can just get back in there. I find it works okay for me to do it that way. And we'll just 1/2 cup here. I'll just level it off with my fingers. Don't need to be. Brownies are one of the coolest things I think to bake, because you really don't have to be super precise. Okay, so we're going to keep this for later also, that cup. And flour we are done with, so let's fold up the old bag. Put the old bag in the other old bag. And zip it up, get all the air out of it. Okay. And yeah, we don't have a mess going on yet. We still may, you never can tell. Okay. So with this sifter, this bottom twists off, and then you can just dump whatever's in there. You don't want to try to compact it in here though. And it's cheese ball, I admit it. It's a very cheese ball thing. But I needed a sifter for this recipe. It's the only one, honestly, it's the only one I could find at the old grocery store. So I said, well, not like I'm going to be using it all the time, I guess. So I'll just avail myself of what's there. All right. Take one of your spoons, tap the edges, try to get all that. It likes to sit here on top of that little red ring. So let's get that out of here. I mean, if you really want to know like cooking stuff, probably go watch like Cutie Cinderella's channel or something. She seems to do more of that than I do. Okay, all right. See what I mean? Cheese ball goofy garbage. Okay, so I don't know what those clumps are, but we don't want them in there, so I will empty that out later. Let's put that off to the side. And there we go. Here's our dry. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to put that to the side, and now we're going to do two different things at once. First, though, we're going to do the first of those two different things right now. And that is to get our sugar. Okay, we need 1 cup. We'll need 1.25 cups total. We need 1 cup right now. 1. And if you want to just delete the hot sauce, this is actually a quite good brownie recipe. Okay. Get the sugar out of here. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for right now. What we're going to start on is the wet, and let's go over to the stove for that part. Okay, you can see the wisdom of me putting it on very low heat because the butter I had was bad. Let's put in the oil first. 2 tablespoons of oil. Yes, oil and butter both. Okay, this is why I use the tablespoon. Because with the dry measuring spoon, I don't have to worry about throwing it in the dishwasher. But with the wet, obviously anything wet you do. So, okay, same thing, 1.5 sticks. See, there is 8 tablespoons to a stick. So let's if you guys were looking at my blog in January I lost my fridge. Not like it went hiding and I couldn't find it. It just stopped working. And I tried to save as much as I could. So the butter you just saw me try to put in there, unless I cut that part. The butter went bad, I couldn't save it. So we'll throw this back in the fridge. Okay, so we're gonna let this go and melt down all the way, okay? We need a 1/3 cup of sugar in there with it. Now, here's the secret to this that I found. The important thing is to have a fork to mix it around, but make sure the butter is completely melted. Don't let it boil. Just make sure it's completely melted before you add the sugar. That's where I found the best way of doing this. So we're gonna leave that alone for a minute. And we're gonna go over here, because we've got to do these eggs. So 2 whole eggs. And I know everybody says crack them on the flat surface or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just don't get shells in there. Uh-oh. Got a little bit of a bloody one there. Come here, you. Okay. And now, to separate these, all you do is crack it, and then very, very, very carefully, okay? Open it just a little bit. Okay, the white will find its own way out. Half, and then switch to the other half. You can see the white is working its way loose. There it goes. Okay, the white's done. And there goes the other yolk. Okay, easy peasy. Messy, but easy peasy. There are lots of simpler ways to do that. You know, hacks and stuff. I'm not showing you guys hacks. I'm just showing you how I do it. Okay, so these go in here. And then we go to the table. After banging into the table with the tripod. You know what? It looks like there's blood in there. I don't think I'm digging that. All right, so I'm gonna bend this and we're gonna start over because I don't want the bloody stuff in there. So we'll do that, we'll be right back. Okay, while I was doing that, this butter is melted, so we need a 1/3 cup. This is only a 1/4 cup, so throwing a 1/4 cup in. I'm just gonna guess to make up the rest to make a 1/3. Okay, we're done with that. And of course, this is why I keep the fork here. Now, so what I do is I try to pull out the granules. You can see, actually, can you see? Yeah. So when there's no more granules, it's dissolved, right? So that's why I keep the fork here. And I probably didn't put the fork in the earlier video, but surely you guys have forks just laying around everywhere, right? Okay. Now, finally, back to this. And canola oil we don't need right at the moment. What we do need is a whisk, okay? So, all we're gonna do is just incorporate the eggs, okay, in with the sugar. We just want it nice. Just don't want any dry sugar in here, okay? Mix it up. Now, here's where, look at that. Looks super nice, huh? Now here's where I differ a little bit, because I throw all the wet in together, okay? Vanilla, 1 teaspoon, bang it in. Okay, down a teaspoon. Okay. Oh, it smells good. Use a high quality vanilla too if you're going to use vanilla. Some people use coffee. I find vanilla gives it a richness. Now you can't over whisk this part. The more you whisk this, the more you're going to get the shiny top, which is what we want. Let's go back to the stove. Definitely getting more liquidy. So we're done with the liquid for now. All we're doing is waiting for this to dissolve. And as soon as this dissolves, We have another step with this. It's super close right now. I'm gonna give it another minute. We'll put the sugar away. In fact, now's the time I usually take to put everything away except for what I'm using. But before we do that, let's do the extra step, which of course is this, the hot sauce we're doing in this video. Again, if you just want regular brownies, just don't put the hot sauce in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go with, well, there's a tablespoon. Maybe a tablespoon and change. This is about basically a tablespoon and a teaspoon that I'm putting in there of this chocolate strawberry hot sauce from Smokin' Ed's. The fun part is that I'm not going to find out how this even is until quite some time from now. Let's integrate it. Woo! Can definitely smell that chocolate strawberry vinegar combination. Okay, this is integrated. It's fine for now. So let's go back to the stove. Hey, we're back at the stove. All right, so when it starts doing that, it's done. Okay. When you start to get that sort of look like it's getting ready to go to caramel, it's done. Okay. Butter solids here. So take it off the heat. Let it sit there. Okay. You don't want this thing right off the burner, but we're going to be putting this in the liquid and then combining the liquid and dry. Okay. And also, we're going to get the other component that I forgot to put here, which is the brownie pan. We need the pan. So I'm gonna put some stuff away. I'm gonna go get that. We'll be right back. Okay, briefly before we go on, we are going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. You didn't see that. It's 350, trust me. Also make sure you take out anything that's in the oven like pizza stones. And so here's additional stuff you're going to need. 2 pot holders. One of them is underneath that sugar, butter, oil mix. We need a cooling rack. And of course the brownie pan. All right, so we're nearly there. All right, so here's one of the reasons I let this cool a little bit. Is otherwise you have to add just a little at a time. But now we can add a lot at a time. Again, this is just because I'm lazy, but you definitely do not want to cook the eggs. Oh boy. We're going to have a really, really smooth top, I think, to these. I'm really excited. The crackly top, I don't know why I like that so much. I just do. That was how I came across this recipe, because I was looking for crackly top brownie recipes. The sugar didn't melt as well as I'd hoped, unfortunately, but sometimes it do. Sometimes I have some hiccups in the filming process and I have to throw out all the sugar and egg mix because there's something in the eggs I don't like. So we're just integrating, continuing to integrate. Okay. All right, we're just gonna, this one I let sit too long. You don't wanna, so try not to let it sit real long or it'll start to sludge up a little bit, okay? Here we go. Again, it's not hot enough to cook the eggs or anything. That's in the sugar, plus it's pretty well integrated at this point. So while we're doing this, while we're putting that in there, the oven will be preheating. Ideally, if we timed it right, we'll be ready to go as soon as we get done. We can throw it in the pan and then right in the oven, which we're gonna wanna do because we're using vinegar, which, you know, will react a bit with the baking powder. Okay. Whisk is done. Whisk is done. Get rid of it. Okay, do not use a whisk for the rest of this. Instead, what we're going to use is this. Okay? Dry goes into wet. Okay? All we're doing is just folding over. Nice, gentle, easy. Okay? Nothing more than this. If you work this too much, you will get cake. I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to make dense, rich brownies, I'm really not trying to get cake out of it. You can put parchment in the brownie pan. This brownie pan happens to be non-stick, so I shan't. But you can. This will seem very slow. It is. It'll seem very slow only because it is very slow. However, you can see we're starting to get some integration. Do not speed faster. Hold that spatula steady. Turn the bowl. Okay? Fold over. That's it. I'm doing about a half turn, maybe a third. You can do whatever you want. Just don't go faster than this. Nice and slow. Nice and easy. Day at the park. Yes, look at that. Nice and smooth. Starting to get that sort of nice, rich brownie battery feel to it. As soon as you have the dry wet, you're done. But make sure it is wet. You can see there's still little pockets of dry here, but we're going slow enough that we'll be all right. We will be okay. As soon as I hear the beep of that oven, we're going to throw it in. Actually, I might even throw it in before then. So as you can see, it is super ready now, though. Boy, I couldn't have timed that better if I wanted to. That was not intentional. Okay, so pot holder drawer going over there with the rack. And here's all we're going to do. Look at that. Look at that. Is that satisfying? It seems like one of those sand things, right? Where people cut them with knives or whatever. Okay. In you go. This is why I try to use the stiffest scraper I can. Try to get all that chocolatey, all of it out if I can. I do have a second spatula in case I couldn't. Won't need it. Okay, now we're just gonna smooth it out basically. Tuck it in the corners. Try to even it out just a tish. That's probably good enough. Okay, now I need a towel. Now here's what I like to do. Flatten it out. Just firm. You don't need to try to send the pan through the table, all right? From here, we're going to our nice hot oven right there. And so there's 350. So depending on where you are, you're normally looking at 28 to 32 minutes. But because we have so much liquid, I'm just going to start at 32 and go from there. So We'll see you back here in 32 minutes and see how it is. Okay, so the first 32 minutes have concluded. Let's take a look at it. Ooh, look at that. Come here. Okay, so I want to try to show you this. So here's how you can see if it's done, is shake it. If it jiggles, you can see it's not jiggling. It is done. So we are now going to turn off that. So from here, we're going to throw it on the cooling rack where it shall sit and think about what it has done for the next hour or so. But you can see we have a really nice, pretty crackly top there. This is looking pretty interesting. You can see I didn't manage to get it flattened quite all the way out, but it's so the middle will sink while it cools, and we'll come back in about an hour so it has time to set and everything, and we'll see what's what at that point. Okay, and we are back, and here you can see it has cooled off somewhat, the brownies that we made. So I'm going to do this the same way that Future Canoe does. Not normally how I do brownies, but I'm just going to do it for this one. So we're just going to take it right out of the center. If you haven't checked out Future Canoe's videos, I strongly suggest you do that. They're great. And you can see spatula is nice and clean. Oh, you could let's take a look at this one. It did get a touch. Well, it just looks like it's touch cake. You can see it's very moist, very dense right there. If you want to make this just without the hot sauce in it, you can see it makes these wonderful crackly tops. Look at that. All right, let's get into this. Oh man, that is really good. Wow. Oop. Oh. So, if you're like me and you like salted caramel and you like salted chocolate, that little trick I showed you at the beginning there with that kosher salt, you get these little pockets of just such goodness here. Here's what the crackly top does. Oh my gosh, these are good. Wow. 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 You know, I'll be honest, I was going to bin this. I was just going to chuck this at the end of this video. But damn if I'm not using this until it's gone in every batch of brownies I make from this point on. Now I've been working on a little secret. I mentioned my secret project. Oh my God, these are good. In the community post a few times. This might be the best brownie I've ever had. It is exactly what I wanted. Dense, rich, dark chocolate. It does not taste of vinegar at all, at all, at all. Not really a strawberry either, but there's a bit of a depth. A little bit of heat. So if you're going to try to recreate what I did, use 2 full tablespoons at least of this. I used a tablespoon and teaspoon. I would say use, God damn, that's good. Oh, I want to have more of the brownies, but all right, fat ass. You know what? You just stick with one. All right. That was honestly shockingly good. I mean, I found the place for this now, and I didn't really want to bin this, but I've tried it on. So I've actually tried it on like cake, chocolate cake, just pouring it right on there. And that vinegar is just, it is too sour for me. The exact same issue with ice cream. It's just too much. But in those brownies, in this right here, look at it, in this right here, in these brownies right here, we have magnificence, unparalleled. We have arguably the best brownies certainly that I've ever made. And again, admittedly, that's a really low bar because I've only made, maybe, I don't know, a dozen batches at this point. Not only that, but it is by far, I've already made the best brownies I've ever had. Even though I just started this in the winter of 2024. I've already surpassed every other brownie I've had. And I think some of the ones from Old Agnes are really good. But they don't speak to me as directly as me tailoring it to myself, which is why I'm telling everybody out there, right? We're fighting the evil corporations. Learn to cook. You can tailor stuff to your own individual taste. And even though I thought this would be good, I was floored. I was floored by how absolutely stunning it is. These are the best brownies I've ever had. Unquestionably, it's not even close. But I think that what's missing actually is some of the strawberry taste there, because that deep, dark, rich chocolate, there is heat to these, with that. This is what it actually leaves. It just brings heat. So one of the reasons that I wanted to start doing it myself is, while I like Old Agnes, I thought, and you'll see some of this in a future video, what if? I started asking myself the old what if question. And I'm a born tinkerer. You've seen it. If you watched any of my cooking videos, you've already seen it. I'm a born ass tinkerer. And so I thought, they're just putting the powder throughout the entire mix. That's what they're doing, which is fine. That's the easiest way. They're mass producing those things. They're getting tons of them out. They're wrapping them up. They're shipping them out. They do the thing, right? They've got the challenge products and so on. And you can't, I don't think, easily do what I'm attempting to do. And you'll see a video on it in the upcoming weeks ahead if I am successful in it. But that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I like what they do. I don't love what they do, but I like it. And I thought, okay, brownies are just a really ideal vehicle for me to just try my nonsense on, because honestly, brownies are pretty forgiving. Let's be real about it. So, but yeah, holy moly, that, I'm trying to get myself in better shape. And obviously brownies are not going to help that. So if I don't have more than one a day, I'm hopeful that, or I'm just coping, I don't know. But I'm hopeful that'll give myself a little bit of grace, with that whole thing. That's why I'm not having another one. I am so tempted to just try to tear that entire pan up, because these are that good. Especially because they got that little bit of warmth from them. I did let them sit after taking them out of the oven, like you saw. But, oh, man. So that's it. Okay, that's it. That's what you use this sauce for. One thing. But, oh, man, what a doozy. Again, I haven't found this to be good on anything else. Like, you can't, to me, you can't put it on chicken. It's. Would you pour vinegar on ice cream? Or pie? Or anything like that? The answer is probably not, right? You wouldn't just like malt vinegar on a cake, right? Like, you wouldn't do that. So I think Ed was trying to go for a dessert sauce here, and it is just, overly astringent. And I don't know if he was trying to hit a certain pH or something, but this is honestly, it is too much. You know, I think trying to have this be a dessert sauce, it doesn't work. You know, it does have some spikiness to it, but it is, again, I found one thing where it works well, and I think actually, so if you did make yourself a hot fudge, you did make yourself a hot chocolate syrup, I think this would work very well there. I do like kind of how the chocolate, not the chocolate, the cocoa. I like how the cocoa. Well, actually, I mean, he shouldn't even call this chocolate. Actually, Ed, calling you out there, buddy. There is not enough sugar in here, which is something you need to go with cocoa to make chocolate. Good, buddy. So, but calling it cocoa strawberry is going to be kind of weird. But I do like how the cocoa and strawberry play together. I think that is a very good combination. But man, until I integrated it into a composite dish like those brownies, yeah, I mean, it wasn't there until then, but it's all the way, all the way live. It's all the way there. Couldn't be more there now. So I guess if you're going to make up some batches of brownies, and you want to get if you really want to tailor it to the way I like them, get you that kosher salt, get you some of this action. Make sure you're using dark chocolate. I don't like milk chocolate or even the lighter cocoa because it's just, I like the darker, richer, more bitter stuff. So if you're going to key it that way. Like I said, I will put the recipe to the original person that I got this from, and I'm sorry I don't actually recall her name, but she's got just a wealth of really cool dessert recipes on that website as well. So definitely check that out. What a great resource. But obviously I modified it pretty heavily. But I mean that's what I always do, right? That's just what I do. I just go out there and tinker with things. But I'm very happy I found where this fits. I could not be more pleased. And I guess I'll just leave it there. I went from being this sauce, okay? So I'm filming this right now in late January. I opened this sauce in September of 2024. So you can see this is one of the longest sauces from opening to reviewing that to actually the video being posted that I think is been in quite some time. And it's just because I really wanted to get a handle on to make sure I was giving it a fair shake. And which I do with all the other sauces. Some just take me a little bit longer than others. But this one is, I knew there was something there, and I like elements of the sauce. It just, how do you bring it all together? And I found it. And there you go. So yeah, but the one thing where I really like this, it would work great in chocolate cake as well, by the way. So any baked chocolate, anything, this is your ticket to magnificence, to magic, right here. And we'll just leave it right there. So that is the Smokin' Ed's hot chocolate strawberry hot sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.